Everyone walked past him like he didn't exist, but no one knew the quiet power growing inside the poor boy they ignored. This is the story of how silence, self-control, and patience turned an invisible life into unstoppable strength. Once upon a time, in a narrow street where dust covered every dream and hope learned to walk slowly, there lived a poor boy named Aiven. People saw him every day, but no one really noticed him. He wore the same faded clothes, carried the same quiet eyes, and walked with his head slightly down. To the world, Aiven was invisible. To himself, he was still trying to understand who he could become. From the first moment you saw him, you could feel that his life was not loud, but it was heavy. Aiven lived in a small room behind an old shop. The walls were cracked, the roof leaked when it rained, and the nights were often cold. He had no parents to guide him, no money to protect him, and no powerful voice to defend him. Every morning he woke up before the sun and helped the shop owner clean floors and carry boxes. People passed by him, talking, laughing, living, but no one asked his name. They only saw a poor boy doing small work, and they decided that was all he would ever be. At school, Aiven sat at the back of the classroom. His books were old, his shoes were worn, and his silence was misunderstood. Teachers rarely called on him. Classmates laughed when he answered slowly or chose the wrong words. When others were praised, Aiven was forgotten. When others were blamed, Aiven was ignored. The pain was not in the laughter, but in the feeling that his presence did not matter. Inside Aiven's heart, there was a storm he never showed. He felt anger when people spoke over him. He felt sadness when he was excluded. He felt fear that maybe the world was right about him. Many times he wanted to shout, to argue, to prove that he was not nothing. But every time those emotions rose, he did something different. He paused. He breathed. He chose silence. Not because he was weak, but because he was learning control without knowing its name. One evening, after a long day, Aiven sat alone on the steps behind the shop. His hands were tired, his stomach was empty, and his thoughts were loud. He looked at the sky and asked a quiet question. He asked if being ignored meant being useless. No answer came from the sky, but something changed inside him. He realized that the world could ignore his face, but it could not touch his mind unless he allowed it. From that day, Aiven began to observe instead of react. When someone insulted him, he listened carefully. He noticed that their words came from their own fears. When someone laughed at him, he studied their behavior instead of feeling hurt. He began to understand that people often attack what they do not understand. This awareness did not make his life easier, but it made him stronger inside. Aiven started using his nights differently. While others slept or wasted time, he read borrowed books under a weak lamp. He did not rush. He did not compare himself. He focused on learning, little by little. When frustration came, he did not throw the book away. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and reminded himself that emotions are tools, not masters. Each calm response was a small victory no one applauded. Years passed quietly. The town changed slowly, but Aiven changed deeply. His body grew taller, but more importantly, his mind grew calmer. He still worked small jobs, still wore simple clothes, and was still ignored by many, but something about his presence began to shift. His silence became confident. His eyes became steady. People felt something different around him, even if they could not explain it. One day, a conflict happened at the shop.
Money went missing, and suspicion filled the air. Voices rose, accusations flew. Many eyes turned toward Aiven, the poor boy, the easy target. In the past, he would have felt panic. His heart would have raced. But now, he stood still. He did not interrupt. He did not defend himself emotionally. He waited until the noise settled. Then he spoke calmly, clearly, and honestly. His words were few, but they carried truth. The room went silent. His calm confused everyone. The truth was later revealed, and Aiven was proven innocent. For the first time, people looked at him differently, not with pity, not with doubt, but with respect. They realized that the boy they ignored had something rare. He had control over himself. Opportunities did not arrive suddenly. There was no miracle, but doors began to open slowly. A teacher noticed his discipline. A customer noticed his intelligence. Someone offered him a chance to learn a skill. Aiven accepted everything with humility. He did not let pride enter. He remembered where he came from and how silence had protected him when noise could have destroyed him. As Aiven grew older, his life improved. He earned enough to live better, but he never forgot the boy who sat at the back of the class. He helped others quietly. He listened more than he spoke. He understood that emotional intelligence is not about hiding pain, but about choosing how to respond to it. He knew that reacting is easy, but controlling yourself is powerful.
One day, a young boy asked him a question that stopped him. The boy asked how to stop feeling small when the world ignores you. Aiven smiled gently. He said that being ignored does not mean you are empty. It means the world has not learned how to see you yet. He said that when you control your emotions, you control your future. He said that anger gives temporary power, but self-control gives lasting strength. Aiven never became famous. His name was not written in big letters, but his life became meaningful. People who once ignored him now listened when he spoke, not because he demanded attention, but because his words carried weight. He proved that poverty of money can be changed, but poverty of self-control destroys from inside. In the end, Aiven understood the truth that changed his life. The poor boy everyone ignored was never weak. He was just preparing his mind, preparing his patience, preparing his strength. And when the time came, he did not rise with noise, but with quiet power. Because sometimes the world ignores you not to break you, but to teach you how strong you can become when you learn to master yourself.